Hello, my loves. Welcome into this video. This video is for you if this Scorpio full moon lunar eclipse happens in your fourth house, meaning you are a Leo rising and or 14 degrees 58 minutes of Scorpio shows up in your fourth house. Welcome in. If you have not already watched the introduction to this reading and you want to learn more about what it is that we're doing here, you can find that linked in the description and popping up on YouTube. So the houses in our Zodiac story represent where things happen. So this is where this Scorpio full moon lunar eclipse is happening in your life. And this is the area of your life that's going to be most affected by this lunar phase. So this is the house of the home, ruled by the fourth sign of the Zodiac, which is Cancer. This is the area of your life that deals with nurturing, family, youth, origins, and ancestry. This is where you're going to be feeling most strongly influenced by this lunar phase. Now we're going to get guidance from the Light Seer Tarot and an affirmation to help navigate the next 6 months. And then we're going to relate this back to how this relates to the house, the area of your life that this moon is happening in, and also how it relates to being freed from the human condition. If you have not already closed your eyes, taken a few deep breaths, and opened your heart to receive the guidance most aligned for you at this time, I invite you to do that. You can also call in your spiritual support team. I just ask that they be here in unconditional love, in support of you, and in support of the highest good of all. There we go. Aww. Here's your card. It's the Three of Cups. I love this image. Your affirmation is I connect into this sacred siblinghood and into this expansive experience of witnessing through time. I'm going to show it here in just a second. You can pause the video if you want to write it down. This is just so beautiful an affirmation in and of itself that I almost don't want to talk over the power of it as we kind of absorb the beauty of it. But at the same time, I want to keep these videos succinct, so I will move forward. But if you want more time to just sit with that affirmation, please feel free to just pause the video and sit with it. My heart feels so happy and excited for this affirmation to come through and this message, especially as it relates to the human condition material. What understanding the human condition really offers us is a deep understanding and compassion for our fellow humans, our siblinghood, for the sacredness of our human family. And this beautiful heart opening that understanding the human condition gives us really shifts dramatically the way that we interact with those who are around us, those who are in our close circles, those who are just people we interact with in our everyday, those strangers that we'll never meet. Whatever level of connection and siblinghood you're feeling called to embrace is right for you. So let me share with you how my understanding of the human condition allows me to be so much more compassionate for my human family to a level I didn't even think was possible. I wanted to love everybody and I wanted to exonerate everybody from the terrible things that they'd done, but it just didn't seem possible, likely, or justifiable. Okay, so here's how the human understanding really brings me to a deep compassion of my human family, my human brothers and sisters, and seeing them in a completely different light. So here's the truth. You were born into this world expecting a loving, cooperative, collaborative environment. You expected that in your home, and you expected to see that in the outer world. And to the extent that you didn't experience that, you were traumatized. Okay, so some people experience the extreme opposite of cooperation, collaboration, love, and care in their home environments. Some people experience that extreme opposite in their outer environment, in the world that they interacted with. Okay, some people experienced maybe a relatively loving home environment, but a relatively hostile outer world. Okay, varying degrees. This trauma is shared by every single one of us. We all came in innocent souls. And we all have done what we've done, treated each other like we've treated each other, been judgmental, been competitive, been nasty, greedy, manipulative, as a result of trying to cope with the fact that the world was not the loving, caring, cooperative place that our soul expected when we came in. Our innocent beings, our innocent children, the innocent child within us has been trying to cope with the lack of love that they experienced. And so when I'm talking about compassion, deep compassion for all of humanity, I'm talking about understanding the ways that we as individuals have acted and why we've acted the way that we've acted. So I'll just use my life as an example. Okay, I've been relatively loving towards people, except if they threaten my source of validation, particularly when it comes to the partner that I'm currently with, or even sometimes just somebody that I have my sights on, right? We don't even have an active relationship, but there's somebody who I would like to get involved with so that they can validate my existence. Because remember, we're seeking validation from the outer world because we didn't get it when we were 0 to 6. That environment did not hold a container for us to recognize, to affirm our worth. And so without that being present in our formative years, we've sought validation from the outside world in many different ways. Okay, so one of the ways I sought validation was through a partner, and whenever that relationship seemed to be threatened, I would go on the attack. I would get very jealous. I would get very manipulative. I would get very aggressive toward whomever I determined to be a threat to that validation. And that's been a shadow for me to deal with and heal my whole life. So what I'm saying to you is that there are behaviors that you have, things that you don't love about yourself and the way that you interact with the world. That's because of the human condition and your response to it. Now, when you can understand that, you can also understand that that's why everybody else has done everything else that they've done that's been horrible. Okay? And we cope with the fact that the world isn't the way that we want it to be with many different things. Some people cope with it by being successful, by seeking power, fortune, fame, and glory. Okay? So celebrities are coping with the human condition by validation seeking with their fame and going after resources to cope with this soul hurt that they have, this soul trauma that they've experienced. Some people are behind bars because of the ways that they've coped or tried to cope or tried to get validation from dealing with this human condition. Okay, but from the celebrities to the people behind bars to ourselves, all of us are dealing with the trauma of the human condition when we understand and can see the innocent soul behind that came in and got destroyed, became traumatized, and adapted to that environment by doing the unspeakable, or the, even what we would think of as like, oh, that person's successful. Seeking success is a way that we cope with the human condition, because if we had been loved and nurtured from 0 to 6 the way that we expected, success wouldn't even be a goal in our lives, because we'd know that we were worthy without having to do anything else, and we just follow our instincts to act cooperatively and lovingly in the world in whatever capacity felt most aligned for us. So this is how we can offer compassion to the siblinghood. Now, here's another interesting aspect of this reading for you, because my beautiful Leo risings, 4th house Scorpios, you're experiencing this in your house of home. So it feels to me like you're extending your sense of home to a wider family, but you're also healing from the ancestral wounds that your family carries. Okay? Because our parents fall under this category too, of not getting love. Their innocent souls have been traumatized, and they have been seeking validation and coping with this for their whole lives. And they weren't able to provide for us the container that we expected, because the container they expected wasn't provided for them. And all of the resentment and upset that we have with our parents, we can finally lay it down with this understanding. And that, my friends, is your next 6 months. Really opening your heart to the sacred siblinghood that you are connecting into, the sacred human family, and our instinctual origins of altruism, love, compassion, cooperation. When we can meet each other on that level, and we can be sure that our own coping and validation seeking, our own responses to the human condition are being evaluated and checked and released and let go of. When we ourselves are working on that, we can also offer that space for others, right? And it feels like, so there was an idea that was coming through that I don't think I quite got to with that. But what I mean to say is, if you're connecting into a sacred siblinghood of people who understand this material, you yourself have to understand where you are showing up in competitive, manipulative, greedy, human condition, reaction behaviors, okay? Because that's going to undermine any family, any community, any group. So as we connect into the sacred siblinghood of our beautiful, instinctual, innocent souls, and we connect with each other on that level, we're witnessing an expansion for humanity that's beyond anything that the human species has seen so far. It's huge. It's big. It's beautiful. And it's a lot. But you're a Leo rising, so, you are a lot. So, yeah, it's perfect for you. There's work for you to do in your home, and in your family, and in your ancestry, and in your relationship with your family. And this understanding this, and understanding how you've been traumatized and the shadow side of you that has developed because of this, will help you to understand, see, and forgive the shadow side of everyone else in the human family. And this doesn't mean that right away we can just open our hearts and collaborate with everybody, because without this understanding, yes, you will just be taken advantage of. But the sacred siblinghood of people who do understand this is growing. And there are people who you can collaborate with safely. And the more that we can do this in safe groups, we can expand this out, and we can reach those who are still stuck in their human conditioning, and we can offer at this point understanding and compassion to them, even if we're not quite ready or able to expose ourselves to their human condition. right? I'm trying to keep these within 15 minutes, so I just went over. So I'm good here. I'm complete here. Let me know how this resonates. Let me know if you have questions. And as always, namaste. The universal light within me salutes and honors that universal light within you. Namaste.